Well, here you are for another video, guys. Welcome to this channel. I'm Jason, and I'm going to do things and stuff, and this is very awkward. Anywho, we're going to talk about Luca today from Disney Plus. It was a very cute Italian movie with Italian things and stuff. It was very Italian. That's it. That's the video. Okay, for real. Well, hello, fellow YouTubers and people who are watching this. This is another video, another film review. Hi, my name is Jason, and this is Insert Channel here. Today, we're going to talk about Italian things. Italian things in the form of Disney Plus's new film, Disney Pixar new film Luca. It's very nice and Italian. Has many Italian things. It was very nice. Well, okay. So we all know it's a Pixar film. You know, Pixar is always good when it comes to taking things from different cultures and putting them into, hopefully faithful form to varying degrees of success. Yes, varying degrees. But in this, they explored Italian things, and it was a pretty cute film. It's Pride Month, so it was very, But really though, it was a really cute film, and there are many things about it that we're going to talk about today. I mean me, because, because yes. So it kind of gave me like an Italian Finding Nemo kind of vibe, or meets Little Mermaid, kind of like going by the sea monster creature thing turning into human, except without the voice thing, and family stuff. The family comes to find Luca. That was really cool. Very nice, very heartfelt, very family oriented. So there's a lot to talk about, what's above the surface, the fear of what's unknown. That is something that is quite prevalent with many Pixar Disney films. The fear of the unknown, of what's out there of the world, and the main protagonist, they really want to explore the world. So they basically rebel against their families and leave and kind of see how things go. In Luca's case, this little sea creature, really cool nice little get up there. Nice and blue and green and very scaly and very floof. Like the hair the hair is felt like fins. At the same time, it was very poof. It was a very nice little poof wave when it came to whenever he was human. So that was really cool, I guess. But anyway, basically in Luca's case, he finds little bits and pieces of what's in the surface, and his mother is really against it. His father is kind of meh. His grandmother, he doesn't really say anything about it, but I'm pretty sure there's a reason why. So basically he meets somebody. He meets his friend. His name's Alberto. Alberto becomes the reason why Luca decides to go up to the surface. And he's very, can you say, not ignorant, but very novice to the world, very naive to the world. So Alberto comes from the surface. He's a sea creature as well, but he comes from the surface and kind of goes back and forth between the surface and the sea all the time. And much of that freedom is something that Luca wants because he feels like he's not really free in his home life. So he kind of dotes after Alberto because of that freedom and because of that want to be able to explore the world and to do things of that nature. So that's kind of one thing that I want to talk about is it gave really, I won't say really, like very subtle queer themes. Like for me, I was able to receive a lot of the implied queer messages that came from the mere existence of Alberto and Luca's friendship, that relationship that was going on there. Like a platonic, well, I guess you can say platonic bond, but it's kind of, for me, it kind of went through the motions of, where you find someone who's of the same orientation as you, someone, and you're just like very brand new to being queer, brand new to being different, or if always been different, then you find someone who's similar to you. You kind of latch onto them. You kind of get attached to them. And that's what kind of I felt like in the beginning of the film, Luca had going for him. Is that like he had Alberto, he had someone who's been there, who's like kind of more experienced to the surface, to those different themes. And you kind of get attached to them, especially if, this is your first exposure to it. And I can relate that to much as like you can latch on to certain people whenever you come to terms with being queer. You just have a tendency to just find the first person that kind of gives you the time of day, just get on them. And that's what happened with that case. So they gone to the surface, much to the parents' chagrin, especially after, as time goes on, that Luca's parents find out about his little secret, quote unquote secret, that he's been hiding from them. And they threaten him with being sent away to the deep bottom part of the ocean. That was much of Luca's push to just go with Alberto, because his parents basically said he's either gonna listen to us or you're gonna go live at your very creepy bottom dwelling uncle who has a see-through belly. You can see every organ in his body. It relates a lot to, whenever your parents aren't really accepting of you being queer, and they don't really want to deal with that. So they send you off to somewhere far away where you can quote unquote get rid of those feelings or get rid of those, I guess outside forces to keep you on, that's influencing you or whatever. It's kind of sad because many queer youth, they still are faced with those kinds of things every day. And a lot of older queer people, they've had to basically come to terms with their blood family never really wanting to deal with them because of their queerness. The fear of, unknown, I guess. Fear of what's different is what keeps them from fully accepting Luca for what he is. He's a sea monster. He's different. He's othered. Anyway. So they go into this little cute part of Italy. I think Porto Rosso, yeah. And they meet this cool little girl Her name is Julia. Julia is like the outcast, you can say. Kind of like the outcast kind of person who is like really just passionate about, what she does, about trying to win this cup that this this really jerk of a person keeps winning, and he's kind of like old. Hercule. He has his two little companions that he bully into like doing his every move, and he's just like an old jerk. He kind of gives me like, that old gay that loves to like relive his childhood through fucking with other younger queers and all of that. And I'm just like, this is no, just like no. He's just bad news all around. Just bad news. But I digress. So one of the forms of freedom that Luca and Alberto, see is in a form of a Vespa. And a Vespa is basically like an Italian moped, very name brand and whatnot. They use that as their symbol of, this is how I know I've made it. This is how I know I'm free. So they try to build different contraptions and all of that. This is before he'd actually leave and all of that though. So this kind of a digression. So they vroom, they try to build it out of wood, and you can see that closeness that they have physically kind of manifest in the fact that like the Vespa, the handmade Vespa, wooden Vespa is falling apart, and they have to hold on to each other basically in order to keep it together. You have to hold on to me in order for you to hold this thing. Oh God, I think Pixar is being a little bit more, you can say, blatant with their queer coding, I guess, than usual, because it's, now that I'm thinking about it, now that you see it, it's very, like I say, it's pretty easily accessible to get a queer reading from this movie. But once again, digress. You just have the bonding between two kids, really cool, and you can tell that there's faint themes of you're getting to know somebody, and like this other person kind of comes in the way of that. So that's where Juliet comes in. So they basically like join together to be Hercule in the Puerto Rosso Cup, and it's kind of like they kind of like bond together. Julia basically and her dad lets them spend the night there, and basically like room with them for the time being. And Alberto basically like gets the bond with the Julia's dad with fishing and whatnot. There's this hilarious scene where unbeknownst to Julia's dad, I think Mezio, unbeknownst to him, they're like actual sea monsters, fish people. And side note, there's a lot of people in Puerto Rosso that hunt sea monsters. I'm gonna quotate sea monsters a lot, and they try to get awards for killing them. Of course, the same thing is like trying to hunt or trying to like get awards for finding this unbeknownst species and whatever the fuck. Okay, whatever. Anyway, there's a scene that goes like, basically, they know, Luca and Alberto know where the fish are during this point in time, because, they haven't really had any fish, and, being fishermen, that's their main source of income. More fish, more money. Not much fish, not much money. Capiche? So, basically, they lead him to the mother lode of fish. And just like, so many close calls with Urquelle and Alberto basically, being, clocked as fish people, and they had to like keep themselves dry. So it was like every time the water gets on them, they always change. They have to like always dry themselves off. But it seems hilarious because it's like they end up returning to port with this huge amount of freaking like what they call it, huge amount of fish, and it was like, oh, we have money now to basically get the entry fee for the Porto Rosso Cup. Really funny scene, and it just kind of goes to show how, kind of the help that they provide each other. That whole dynamic, they provide help with family and all of that, with Julia and her dad, between them and Alberto and Luca. So it's really cool altogether. So as time goes on, Alberto kind of works with the dad. Julia and Luca, they become closer. And, Julia basically shows Luca that there's more to this world than what meets the eye. What Alberto, the only person who's really shown him, any kind of, knowledge or whatever. It's like there's more to, the universe. There's more to the stars. There's more to it, life than what you're doing right now. So basically, Alberto kind of gets jealous and kind of lashes out towards Julia because of, kind of stealing, Luca away from him. And it's kind of like it's kind of like how, you have like someone who's like, that the main character is basically like, hey, they're kind of leading towards love interest. And the person that, just wants to be a love interest is all like, no. They're mine. He's with me. They're with me. It's kind of like that. I know there's more of a term for it, whatever, but it kind of just feels like this weird, I wouldn't say a love triangle, but like kind of just, for all intended purposes, this is basically a love triangle. So, or love V. Yeah, a love V. That's kind of like it is. Love V. So, with that, it kind of forms a rift between Alberto and Luca, all coming to head whenever they basically get lost. And Julia has to find them. And once she finds them, basically they got clocked. Basically they got clocked as fish people. And it was like by the time Luca got all dried up, Alberto was like, basically got into the water and got revealed as a monster. And Luca basically kind of turned against them. It was a pretty messed up scene if you really think about it. The one person that, you were close to just kind of turned against them for this other person. It's kind of effed up, So basically that causes Alberto to leave. And Luca realizes kind of the error of his ways, especially after he kind of reveals himself to be the same after talking to Julia, after, I guess you can say, a confrontation. And Julia's all like, yo, why are you here? Why? You've seen all these people are trying to kill you and all of that. But he tries to make it up to Alberto. And at that moment, it is revealed that, Alberto says all this cool stuff about his father, about how much his father has taught him, order to be, prepared for the surface. But in reality, he's kind of got left there, left to fend for himself at a seemingly young age, and basically was been by himself for so many years, or however amount of time, presumably years, and it's one of those things where after he kind of reveals that information, he kind of closes the door, tries to build up the wall between him and Luca that was already there. Luca wants to fix it, so he tries to fix it by entering solo into the Porto Rosso Cup, and Julia's all like, yeah, no, this is not a good idea. Please don't do this, especially after, knowing that who they are now. She's like, she wants to protect them and wants to be like, yeah, no, this is not a good idea. They'll kill you. And Luca's all like, nah, I got it. It's cool. I'm gonna fix this all. Very, very protagonisty of him, right? So, basically, the day the Porto Rosso Cup comes, and they're all like, oh yeah, they're cool. Gonna do all of that cool stuff with, what's it called? It's basically, the Porto Rosso Cup is basically a marathon. Like a Tour de France kind of thing. Swim, eat, bike, all of that stuff. All across Porto Rosso. So basically, with I'm not gonna say with the help, but basically Luca and all the hijinks that ensues around him basically gets a little bit of a head start. Okay, not really a head start, but he kind of goes ahead, and he finds his way going up, and they're at the part where he trained at the very top of I'm gonna say mountain, to where everything goes down in a very steep way. Julia's never gone that far because she always throws up. So there's always been a running joke about the film, calling her Spulia instead of Julia. So that that kind of goes into that. And the kicker is Hercule. This basically, I'm gonna call him an old gay because that's what he gives me. This old gay basically tried to sabotage using his little companions or whatever, and now that he's kind of close to getting beat, it's we ain't doing this. So it starts to rain in the middle of the cup whenever Luca basically gets to the top of the thing before he goes down, and it's like, oh crap, I can't do this. Meanwhile, his parents have been doing almost everything to find him. He basically found his parents twice. He basically came across his parents twice-fold while they're in their human forms, and basically that was the little side plot. His parents have been trying to find him this whole time. Hijinks ensue with them involving lots of water and soccer balls and lots of water and kicking kids. Basically, they're just trying to find him trying to spew water all over the kids of the town, almost terrorizing them. It's quite funny when you think about it. So, So basically, all comes to a head, and here comes a blue umbrella, form of Alberto. Alberto's like, I'm gonna help you and all of that, but he slips and falls, and that's when the whole world knows now that he's a sea monster. Hercule, in all his whatever glory, basically takes his little harpoon and tries to get him, and he also accidentally gets netted. Alberto does. So Luca basically is all like, yeah, you know what? Time to show the world who I really am. So basically, while in the rain, gets shown as the, sea monster that he actually is, and basically just grabs and gets the net away from Alberto, and they're like, come on. So even with Urkelay trying to balance and kill him, they end up basically losing. Urkelay basically loses to the whole team of Julia. Well, team quote unquote. The place of Luca who won, but the whole team of Luca, Alberto, and Julia, the underdogs, as they say, the underdogs, and kind of get their finally get their little victory, and Urkelay gets the shaft. He basically gets thrown into the water, and his little wool sweater that he can't get wet gets wet, and it's like it's one of those things. So basically with that, in that time of living in the truth, they reveal themselves to be already fish monsters and all of that, and goes to show the town, they didn't really care. They don't really care anymore, especially now. And so they all gather around these two old grannies. They just revealed themselves to be freaking fish people themselves. So that was really cool. And this, oh god, the ending is so nice. So all in all, the bonding between Julia and Luca basically led to Luca wanting to explore the world through academics. He wants to go to school with Julia, who is in Genova, and during the school year, and they basically take all the prize money from what was supposedly from the Vespa. The Vespa basically was there, but Alberto sold it to get him the ticket to go to Genova. Really just about to cry. So the family basically supports him in every single way. He has a little support from Julia, support from Alberto, support from his parents, and Julia's dad, Mazio. Alberto stays behind to help Mazio with the fishing, but it's just a very emotional scene where he basically just runs away, and while Luca's on the train, and then it starts raining, and Luca's finally shows himself off for who he is, and it's a very beautiful scene. I'm gonna cry. So let's see. So that was the plot, and it has so many notes, and I feel I'm just kind of ooh, here's some more. So many of them. So many notes I can talk about. I feel I've talked about just so many of them. So, basically, a lot of what I liked about the film was much of it's not implication of queer media, of the queer themes in this cinema, but it's the fact that it gave a chance to give us a story that a lot of people can identify with, especially queer people. Had I wished it was especially more inherent in its queerness, yeah, but it takes the classic themes of othering by using either fictional characters or fictional races. It's kind of the same vibe as Star Wars. Whenever in the prequels it had all of these different races, all of these different alien species, which categorized two different races, quote unquote, and it's kind of about the concept of othering and how being othered is a damaging thing, and how them being fish people And all of these misconceptions about that has basically forced them to have to hide and have to like not be able to enjoy the surface, even though they're literally able to blend in. They've had to stay dry in order to, to live peacefully. And it's the same kind of vibe for, back in the day, queer people having to basically like either hide behind different things or have to basically like live in stealth for so many years before, to get an inkling of representation or, acceptance from the mainstream, from the community at large. And with the town accepting them for as they are, it kind of gives you a little bit of hope, a little bit of positivity. It's like, hey, if they can accept them for who they are as different people, why they can't accept us as queer people? You know what I'm saying? And granted, it is 2021, so things have gotten a lot better in terms of, queer people living, but I won't say it's gotten that much better. There's still a lot of us getting killed for being queer, but it's gotten a little bit better. Do we still have a long way to go? Yes, most definitely. But films like this do show that there is some form of queer representation, even if it isn't explicit in its showing. I'm assuming because it's children's media and it's Disney, I guess, that they're never going to explicitly say, oh, here's a whole 2 queer leads in a children's film. I mean, we barely got any kind of queer representation at all in Disney Pixar films, and that was with a cop. So Disney kind of has a long way to go too. But it's a start to have such of a, a film like Luca that shows that 2 kids, queer or not, or that are male presenting, can be able to have such a close bond and not have to worry about society necessarily. Even though society has kind of been pitted against them, they've kind of had to rely on each other. And that closeness, that intimacy that not many people that are male passing are able to have in this society, they have, especially as kids. They always want to be like, oh, boys will be boys, and not really present the concept of, boys and male presenting people having emotions or having, feelings. God forbid, something hurts you and you cry. But this film was very cute. And very cute, and even with all of the cool little queer coding that's in there, it still gives you so many different positive messages about, friendship, about family, about who you can choose as your family, as the people that, you can be close with. Many different people, queer or not, can get many positive messages from this film, and I really like it. I really do. Thank you again for watching this channel, and I hope to have more films to review soon. I'm hoping to see something else that catches my eye, and I think I will. So thank you for joining along me. Thank you for joining on this ride with me. Hopefully I can see you soon. Ciao.